We're back out in the garage again, working on the Redneck Supra. For those of you who are new to the channel, that is our 2000 Ford Mustang that we're dropping in a GM straight six Atlas 4200 Vortec motor, along with our TREMEC TKX 5-speed transmission and a few other goodies. In the last episode, what we did was put all this together, drop it in the car and make sure it was gonna fit. Luckily it does, but if you wanna see the steps on that, be sure to check out that prior video. In today's video, we're gonna move on to the next step, which is very important in making this actually work and function in the car. Mustangs come with a cable clutch setup, and that simply isn't gonna work. We need a hydraulic setup. So in the first part of this video, I'm gonna show you guys how we're gonna set up the transmission side of it. And in the second part of the video, I'm gonna show you how we convert the car itself. We picked up some awesome products from Silver Sport Transmissions. Let's check those out and get started. So again, we ordered a kit set up here from Silver Sport Transmissions. They are the ones who supplied the bell housing as well. That worked perfectly on this setup. Kind of two pieces here in this kit. You've got the, again, transmission side. So we've got our shims for when we go to install our clutch. We've got our throwout bearing, and the main thing that we're going to be focusing on is changing out this front bearing retainer. So the TKX, when you order it, unless you order it already set up, I think from Silver Sport, this came from TREMEC Direct. This is utilized a standard like fork style, you know, where you use the cable clutch like this, or on older GM models using a Z-bar, so like a manual style. So we need to convert this over so we have a place for the throwout bearing to sit. That's the first thing we're going to focus on. Full detailed instructions, we'll go through it, but it is a fairly easy process. You just need to make sure you don't lose track of a few things that are hidden back behind here. So step one, we're going to go ahead and loosen these 4 bolts and start taking this thing off. As you can see in the instructions, one of the most important things is to have the transmission sitting at a bit of an angle, which is why I've left it on the transmission jack and actually got it up a little bit higher. When you go to take this off, there are shims and bearings and such in there, and you do not want to take this out and have the input shaft come out, because it can drop other pieces inside the transmission, and if that happens, you're going to be in a world of trouble. You drop that down in there, you're going to have to send this thing back and have it gone through completely. So we want to make sure we're taking care of what we're doing, watching what we're doing, and not drop anything in there. So I've got this propped up. We're going to loosen those bolts, take that off, and I'll show you what we've got behind it. All right, so we simply removed those 4 bolts, 1/2 millimeter. You want to go ahead and hold on to this input shaft as you take this back. And again, be aware there are shims and a bearing retainer that will probably come with it. We're going to leave that guy right there. That's the gasket. Slide this off very carefully. Again, making sure that this input shaft stays put. Bearing, race, everything is in there. You can see here is the retainer, and we do have a couple shims sitting behind there. Otherwise, everything else came out nice and clean. Take our new retainer here, drop our bearings in, or our spacers in the same manner. And then the main thing we need to make sure is, if you look closely, there is actually an oil galley here at the top, and that's been cut in to the back side of this. So that needs to go on the north end, 12 o'clock, as well as this guy right here. And that's what holds our throwout bearing in. So get our shims in there. Of course, this comes preloaded with a seal on it. Slide this dude back on. Get that seal through. There we go. And this kit does come with 4 new bolts. So we'll get those. Start tightening that down. Okay, now that we've got our new bearing retainer, I can show you pretty much the whole reason we did that was so that we can replace the cable setup with our hydraulic setup. So this is our hydraulic throwout bearing. If you're not familiar with how this works, essentially the clutch pedal compresses fluid with a master cylinder that runs through a line they provide, a stainless line that comes into here, and actually pushes out on our throwout bearing to the clutch and disengages or engages it. I did also mention that this kit does come with some spacers if we need to. Once we go to put our clutch in, we'll have to measure for this, but these sit right here and push our throwout bearing closer. That'll be a measurement and a process that I'll go over probably at a later date when we do our final install on the clutch. But for now, that was the whole reason we changed that out. Everything looks good, everything's happy, and that's done. So the transmission part is fairly easy. There's not a whole lot to it. Really, that's about it. We're going to go ahead and probably end up bolting our stuff back together and move on over to the car. All right, so now that we've completed installing the hydraulic piece on the transmission, we're going to move over to the pedal side. This is the pedal, which includes the clutch and the brake out of our Mustang. Now, I will say this, Silver Sport doesn't sell a hydraulic conversion kit that works on an SN95 chassis with a brake booster. They sell a kit for the Hydro Boost. They do sell a kit that they utilize for when swapping a Fox body like a Coyote motor because it's much larger, there's no room. That's what we bought. Before purchasing, I worked with Shane over there to figure out if this bracket was the same distance, and it is. So I went ahead and ordered it, and we're going to try to see if we can make it work. First part of it, pedals here. So we've got the bracket on, the supplied washers. Obviously, I removed all of the plastic gears and everything for the cable, the automatic tensioner, etc. We've got this piece on here. Now, the next thing is there is a sensor that is used for cruise control. I believe it's just the activator or deactivation. It does come with a new bracket that I've already attached. And what this does is it actually moves the sensor a little further out from where it sits factory. So it moves it out further. It has studs. We can either grab some bolts to use on here, or in the instructions you can actually cut this piece off and reutilize that. Either should work fine. But yeah, so by moving this over, it provides more space for our clutch lever, which is going to go right here, and it kind of follows, best I can tell, kind of this same angle. But yeah, with that on there, we now have a forward movement with the clutch. So as before, the cable would actually pull this way, which would pull the cable back. And that's why we couldn't use the cable style, because with the throwout bearing, we need a forward movement, or actually a backwards movement on that. And we were getting a forward on this. So if that makes any sense, if not, go look up how Mustang clutch cable works. But so we've got this on here. Like I said, supplied washers. We reuse the clips, put that on there. I'm going to go ahead and attach our new bracket for our clutch, or our cruise control. If you're not using cruise control, you don't have to worry about it. And then that should be it for the pedal side of it. And our next step will be actually getting into the engine bay and working on installing the actual master cylinder to the firewall. We got to drill a hole. The template provided is for a Fox. So unfortunately, because it is for a Fox, it doesn't work. So that may be where we have to start changing things up a little bit. We'll find out when we're in there. It's going to be a lot easier to do that with the motor out as well. And then hopefully we can come up with something that works and make this whole project worthwhile. So on to the next step. And a quick thank you to our sponsor partners, helping us bring great content to you. Okay, we've made our way down into the footwell here on the driver's side. At this point, the pedal box is completely gone. I have removed the accelerator pedal because we're going to be moving to drive-by-wire here. I got to come up with a bracket and all that. That's kind of phase 2. The booster is out at the moment. That's where the 4 main holes are that you see up here. That's where the booster comes through and the pedal assembly. I did go ahead and cut all of the firewall material out, sound deadening, etc. The plate that comes with the Fox kit is this, and it sits kind of like this. What we're working with on the firewall is different. It doesn't have this angle to go around. So what I think I'm going to have to do first is probably cut this off here and then figure out where we're going to line up. So I'll put the pedals in, figure out maybe where this bracket can go, and then decide where this hole is going to be. And then we'll probably have to do a redesign of this bracket so we get a little bit more structure. Because really this is just to enforce the firewall. The firewall does It's thin. This plate goes on the inside, and then there's a thicker piece on the outside that holds the master cylinder. Step one's going to be figuring out how to get this to work. So I'm going to grab the pedals, prop them up there, bolt them in, and then figure out where this is going to go to make the correct angle. So when we do push the clutch, you know, we're not putting any kind of weird angle on the master cylinder itself. And thus, we might need a redesign. On the Fox, there's this extra hole here that they just bolt this on the firewall, and then you know exactly where this goes. We don't have that luxury, so we're going to figure it out. Maybe it's something that we design and use the two studs over there and just have this massive plate to locate this. Might be the nice way to go about it. I'm not sure yet, but that's what we're going to do. First time doing it, we're going to figure it out. Okay, with our pedal box reinstalled, got an idea of how cramped it gets down here, but we need this dude to go through the firewall somewhere in that general area. The problem again, our bracket has this arm over it, and if we come out to the other side of the firewall, we'll see it won't work over there first. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this and then see what we can do. So from the firewall side, or the engine bay side, you can kind of get another idea of how this isn't going to work. Really needs to sit more like that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. I've got the actual plate here as well, which I can't sit flush. But I figured it would be easier to cut the backside first, thinner, get an idea where this needs to be, verify it with the rod, and then go ahead and cut a hole in that dude. But yeah, by putting it down here and putting the angle that is built in with this bracket, you see it doesn't sit straight, it's got an angle to it. That moves it down this way and away from the brake booster. So we're going to cut this off, see if I can get it sit flush, go from there. The biggest difference is the Fox doesn't have this bump out. It's flat. If this was flat, it'd probably work just fine. But this is our difference. So we'll adjust. End piece cut off. Looking at it from this side, it seems like this would be the play. But I know that that's the throttle cable bracket. I don't know what we're going to run into there. It also seems like that would be a good spot for it. You'd get, you know, that hole, and then we could probably put one down here. But really, it's just going to matter where does this hole need to be in relation to the pedal. And honestly, I swear it looks like it needs to be all the way up here. So I'm going to have to go inside underneath and kind of figure out where that hole needs to be, and then maybe I can get an idea where this could be, because this actually goes on the inside. So let's hop back in and take a look. All right, so I've looked at a handful of different things, playing around with how far over this is. On this car, because of this extra piece not being flat in the firewall, it really kind of limits how far over things can go. So I even took the spacer out, playing with that. I made a mark, you can kind of see it there, and sorry it's not focusing well, as to where I think we need to drill. It fits really well as far as this piece goes. See if I can get it to sit up there for you guys. And again, sorry, there's stuff in the way. You know, that fits really well there. Kind of somewhere in that range. The problem is on the other side. Let's see if I can get it to focus for you. Yeah, it's a little better. The other side, there's just not as much room. Like that bolt hole up there, I don't know if we can even get to that. But unfortunately, there's only one way for me to find out if this is going to work or not. And that's going to be to drill a hole. So we're going to start with a really small pilot hole, I think. See where that sits and go from there. It's just not going to be a bolt-on thing. Welcome to the Redneck Supra. All right, so if you can't tell from the gleaming sweat on my face, it's like 90-something degrees outside, and I don't have any air conditioner in this garage. So just some fans that I try to turn off while I'm filming so you guys don't get that annoying sound in the background. But I'm going to flip this around and show you what it is that we've got going on inside the bay with the bracket currently. Going slow, trying to make this work. I think it's going to work. I hope. But But the further we go along, the more cutting, the more holes in the car. It gets me anxious. So let's look what we've got. All right, I'm gonna hop in here. So this is the angled bracket, again, that comes with the kit. And once again, this is for a Fox body, not an SN95. There used to be a big chunk over here that I took off so we could get around this. This is the main reason this doesn't fit. They put an angle in here with the firewall. I don't know. Anyways, and this is cooled down enough. So there's where I put my initial hole where I think it would work. Now looking at this, there is a bit of an angle. So it's not straight. It does go down, of course, but it also has a slight angle towards the center of the car. So really that rod doesn't need to be coming straight. It can kind of have a bit of an angle here. So after cutting all of this, let me zoom back a little bit so you guys can see. This is where I'm at with it. Over here, we're running into the accelerator pedal. And sorry, it's really hard to hold and film at the same time. I think what I'm going to do is probably cut that ear off right above my middle finger there. And where my middle finger is, drill a new hole down here at the bottom. So I've got 3 holes through the firewall. So cut it here, kind of round it out. Maybe put a hole here. Bolt, bolt, bolt. We'll open this up bigger on the inside. And then we'll just match our inside plate. And if I have to cut a new plate for the inside, that's not a big deal. That's really easy. It's kind of where I'm at. And that'll bring the master cylinder kind of down this way. Should be plenty of room for the booster. And I think that's going to work. So here's where we ended up. Not too bad. There's still, I had to get kind of close here. But like I said, if we do another hole down here, that kind of triangulates it. And that should really give it some good sturdiness around it, and then we won't utilize this one. Kind of just bring it around here. So that's my plan at the moment. We'll end up bringing this hole probably a little bit more this way. So open it up, of course, but kind of put more of it down here so we get that angle that this thing has built into it. That's the goal. There's the master cylinder. Plenty of extension on the rod and adjustability, so that's fine. So we're going to keep cracking at it. I'm going to run inside, take a break, grab some cool air, some water. See what we got. So keep rocking and rolling. I'm kind of in the final stages of mock-up. I ended up cutting a bunch of this section off here due to the fact that the new edge has this hump in the firewall instead of being flat. And then since I had to lose a bolt over here and this one is going to run into my accelerator pedal, I added this third one here. So it's going to have 3 bolts across the perimeter. I think that'll be good. I did have to adjust the bracket on the inside and cut it up. I'm going to use what I have, but if I find this is a little flimsy, we may go with something a little bigger on the inside. But yeah, this is kind of where it's at. I'll update you when it's hopefully working. 3 new bolts. Now on the inside flange, I'll have to cut this off because it is hitting this bracket here, but on the outside, it's flush, so we'll just leave it there for extra support. Obviously, these aren't bolted in yet, but we'll get this tightened down from the inside. Put our clutch piece in, our master cylinder, and then brake booster. But it's looking good. I think it's going to work. Just had to do a little trim work over there. Might open the hole a little bit. I like it. All right, it is finally time to show you guys what I was able to do with this clutch situation. So, it's been a long day, kind of in and out working on this, but it's all together. So let's dive underneath the dash here, take a look at what we got. So to start off, we've got the pedal assembly all together. This is actually the clutch switch for the starter. They had put an automatic in here, so they just looped it. We'll be taking that out, plugging it in. The connector's up on the clutch. There is the bracket and the rod. It's a straight shot. I'd show you guys, but I don't want to push on the clutch pedal. I need to put fluid in the reservoir and get that bled. But it looks like it's a straight shot in there. Seems like we're going to be good. Backing plate, I did have to cut to make this work. I'm probably going to make a bigger one. We'll see. If the firewall is actually pretty thick, it's a double layer. It may not have any flex. It might be okay. So looks good under here. I like it. Let's show you what we have on the other side. All right, here it is. A Silver Sport clutch setup, and a vacuum booster. There it is down there, all bolted in with our 3 bolts. Looks nice and flush. We got plenty of space. Got the booster in there. It's all tightened down, bolted up. The only thing left to do is it does come with this remote reservoir. It comes with a bracket. I don't know if that's supposed to work with like a hydro boost or something. I don't see anywhere where it's going to fit on ours, but this guy I'll probably just drop it in over here or somewhere, make a bracket. I'm not sure. That'll take almost no time at all. So that is the difficult part. Like I said, I still need to figure out the cruise cancel switch. If you're not using cruise, it doesn't matter at all. This has been a project. I do want to show you the finalized everything, so I'm not going to end it here. We'll take one final look when I get it all done, get the reservoir, everything bled. But guys, we're one step closer, almost done. Let's keep going. So as promised, let's take a look at how I ended up mounting this. So I did end up using the bracket supplied by Silver Sport. As you can see, I didn't use the bottom hole there, but there's a handful of tabs that go across here. I think it used to hold a wiring harness or something. I'm not too sure. Ended up bending that down and using the bracket. Fits nice. Was able to put the feed line down underneath the booster. And right there you can see right to the master cylinder. Works great. So the only thing left to do now is, of course, they do provide a stainless line. This end goes to the master cylinder right there on that gold fitting. We've got a built-in bleeder, and then of course this goes to the throwout bearing inside the transmission. Now we'll end up hooking this up with the bell housing on just to make things easier, and then we'll actually attach this last on there. So with that said, that is an overview on how to fit a Silver Sport Transmissions Fox body hydraulic clutch setup conversion for the TKX with the brake booster. So they do offer kits for the SN95, the new Edge, but it only works with the hydro boost. And I've got no hydro, no boost. So we're using the brake booster, the vacuum style. Using that should work great. Thanks for watching this episode, guys. In the next episode, we're going to put everything back together one last time and put it in here, and then hopefully start doing some wiring. So I've already got some wiring going on in the background in between. We've got parts coming. Everything's rolling along. I'm super excited for this build. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, leave a comment down below. Kind of what you think about it. Something new. Some people have heard about it. Some people haven't. But anyhow, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Tell everybody about the build, the Redneck Supra. It's going to be a blast. We'll catch you guys on the next one.